Peace and blessings to you. My name is Jere B. I am the EntreMusician, and so is this young brother who's sitting to my right. You're going to hear from him, guitarist extraordinaire Earl Carter, who is doing great things, has always been doing great things, and we're going to learn a lot more about him as the ultimate EntreMusician. But before we do that, we're going to do this. As you know, all of our videos are sponsored by the great folks at Vocal. Vocal is the only beverage on the planet designed to soothe, refresh, and restore your voice. If you talk all day like I sometimes do, or sing all night, you definitely got to get yourself some Vocal. Go to drinkvocal.com to find out how. And as I said before, I absolutely appreciate the life I've been given to do these great interviews, but some interviews I appreciate more than others. And it's this interview today that I'm doing with the incomparable Earl Carter that really pleases me, because here's a brother who is a man of truth. He's true to himself, he's true to his faith, and he's true to his profession. And I'm grateful. Brother Earl, blessings to you, man. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. How are you today?
Man, I'm absolutely excellent. Man, I've been following your career over the past 12, 13 years for sure, and just grateful for every single thing that I've seen from the outside looking in. We've only had 2 or 3 conversations throughout the year, but I'm very impressed by the work that you're doing, man. Tell me about Earl Carter and everything that's going on right now.
Well, you know what? I am a good listener, a very good listener, and I'm a pretty good talker as well. But when it comes to talking about myself, people tend to say I'm humble. So this is a job. This is a task for me to talk about Earl Carter.
My job is to pull it out of you, man. I do know this. I know a couple things. I think. If I can say this correctly, that your career kind of got the uncanny boost from the movie, the Spike Lee movie with the band E.U. Is that right?
That's true. Yeah. Because we had actually, I wasn't in the School Days movie, but I did perform on the soundtrack for the Do the Right Thing movie.
Correct.
Yeah. So
correct.
So we had in the Washington D.C. area, Experience Unlimited, or as we call it now, E.U. as one of the popular groups. It has been for years. Absolutely. And there was a concert at what was called the Capitol Center. Actually, that's where we used to have our basketball games a long time ago. We had this big concert where all of the go-go bands, local go-go bands, played on the stage. It was about 18,000 people, and we did this video called Go Go Live at the Capitol Center. And Spike Lee, he was actually interested in getting one of the groups to perform in School Days in the party scene, and E.U. was chosen, and that's when everything kind of skyrocketed from there for the group.
Absolutely.
I actually I was working a corporate job, but I was a young guy, but I was also in management. And so I was working a corporate gig, and I actually ended up being offered a management position in Charlotte, North Carolina. So that's why I didn't do the School Days scene, because I relocated with my job to North Carolina. Yep. And then I came back.
How long did you stay down there in North Carolina?
I stayed 3 years, and then I relocated back because we had some problems going on back in D.C. So I ended up coming back and joining the group again.
So you got back in the group. When those 3 years, were you doing music while you were in North Carolina?
Yeah, I was a bass player for a classic rock band.
All right.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm talking about, getting deep.
yeah, different twist, and a lot of people probably don't know that. Yeah. But actually, my formal training is on the saxophone, the alto sax. and the guitar stuff and bass, that's all self-taught.
You probably play drums too, don't you?
No. I leave that to you professionals. I can play. I can hold a steady pocket for my stuff. And it's the same thing with the sax because I put it down, even though it was my main instrument, because I was getting most of my calls were for string instruments. So I ended up just doing a lot of that. But so I can go in the studio. Actually, I'm sitting in one of my studios right now. I have like a writing room downstairs, and then this is the one where I do my pre-production. I can play my own pocket. I'll play my own horn section stuff and keyboard parts. But as far as playing out, as far as being a multi-instrumentalist, mostly I just play guitar and bass when I play out.
Understood. Well, I've checked out a lot of your YouTube videos over the years and whatnot, and you and the Carter Project lay down an absolutely mean groove all night. You keep the audience engaged, and I'm sure that's because of the go-go roots.
Exactly. Yeah, that's definitely have the go-go roots. But you know what? And like I said, I've been following your career, and my thing is, I'm inspired by guys like yourself who have that the business savvy and the grind and the the talent. And when you put it all together, that's when you have a full package. So I'm inspired by guys like yourself. So I follow you.
Well, the reason that we've hooked up, and I believe that God has joined our paths together, when he gave me the vision for the EntreMusician, it's people like you, Glenn Douglas, Chris Rhodes. I mean, people who, we have to think about our careers outside of our instruments, outside of what happens in the studio and on the stage. And we're pretty much dealing with all of this. And just to see this thing mushroom and grow as it has. I mean, you are part of that story. So whatever it is that you may be admiring about me, I'm on the outside, like I said, looking in, because it's like, yo, this dude Earl is somebody to watch. I mean, not to be dropping names, but all of the wonderful people, the Marcus Johnsons, the Bobby Laus, Bob Baldwins, and the people that you've been blessed to work and play with. I mean, you just don't step up and pick up your guitar and just walk in the door. I mean, there are steps you're taking to get to that process. And not only has the Lord blessed you, but your gift has made room for you to be able to do these things.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Now tell me, 8 albums though. You have 8 out. That's what I counted. And what was the first one? What was the first album?
The first one was in 2002, titled "No Frettin'."
No Frettin'.
And then, second one, old school, 2004, R&B oldies, and classic rock oldies as well, from the 70s, a little bit of 80s, but mostly 70s era.
Was there any rock playing on there? Was there any rock bass playing?
No. But you know what? I played. I think I have America's a couple of covers: "A Horse with No Name" and "Happy Anniversary" by the Little River Band.
Yeah.
So yeah. I grew up on that stuff.
Oh, me too. I'm a child of the 70s.
Right. That's it. Yeah. There you go. Yep. So it's a mix. Third one was it 495? That's a lot of people's favorite. A lot of people love my 495 CD from 2005.
What did that number stand for? 495. What was the number representing?
That's our beltway in DC. It wraps around Washington DC, and you either will be sitting. You either can fly through it 65, 70 miles per hour, or you're sitting at a standstill. Usually you're sitting at a standstill. Or
from Ohio, getting down to the beltway for the first time, it's like,
Most of the time you're sitting at a standstill, and it takes forever to get to wherever you want to go. So basically, in doing shows around town, you can count on a lot of people, a lot of musicians can attest to this. You can count on it taking 1 to 2 hours to go anywhere that you need to go to, including around the corner if you have to get on the beltway. So you feel my pain with that, right?
So,
So you
so
put
you
on.
presented music. Did you present music? So while we're sitting there, you can say, "Hey,
There
yo,
you go.
let's check out
Just
Earl."
listen to this. Exactly. Just while you're sitting there for 2 hours in traffic, you might as well listen to 495. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So the rest of the CDs after 495.
495. Then 2007, that's when I actually was offered a major distribution contract. My Paradise, 2007. Navarre, but they would, and it would have done even better than it did. I actually carried the label. My guys from EU, the management for EU, they were looking to put a contemporary jazz artist, hip hop artist, R&B vocalist, and a alternative vocalist on this. They signed all four of us to this deal, along with a Experience Unlimited EU Revisited project as well. And it was with Navarre, but then Navarre was bought out by Koch.
CLCH.
Yeah, you're right. About 6 months later, my project actually, and who would have thought that the jazz project actually carried the label as far as the numbers go. Mm-hmm. But they lost a lot of money with the chargebacks on the other artists, unfortunately, and it was due to the transition from one label to, Navarre was bought out by Koch.
Understood.
And so, yeah, but that was the first time I got I received major distribution as an independent, as opposed to being a side man and being a solo artist. Yeah. So that was 2007, and then 2009 was Project X. I was back to doing the DIY thing again, do it yourself. Yes, and yeah, and then I ended up going overseas a lot. I spent a lot of time in Ethiopia. Had a contract. Yeah. So I was every 3 months. I spent 3 months here, 3 months in Ethiopia, 3 months here, 3 months. So 6 out of 12 months I'd spent overseas doing that. So, but I actually worked on 2 of the projects. Yeah. I completed one over there, and then started another one in 2013. We're getting ready for Welcome Back Carter is what it was called, because I was planning on coming back to DC. So one of my business partners, he came up with that name, Welcome Back Carter. So that's when we released that in 2013. We worked on it in 2011 and 12 while I was in Ethiopia. And I'd work on the guitar and bass parts in my room with my mobile studio. Yeah. And then I would send that to my keyboard player, co-producers, drummers, and so forth, so that they would do their parts in their studios at home.
Right.
And we just put it all together, and it would sound like a band was in the studio together performing. But
absolutely,
we were doing it. Yeah. And the keyboard player actually was your buddy Glenn Douglas, who I've done a lot of work.
Yeah. Good brother.
Oh yeah.
It's a good brother right there.
Oh yeah. So we did a lot of work together. Actually, we played at the same church for some years as well. But, so we've done a lot.
Before you go to the next CD, that's one thing that I want to just say right off the bat, man, that I was really impressed with when setting up for this interview, was the fact that on your itinerary every Sunday morning, you always put your place of worship down. And absolutely, yeah. That's what's up right there. Yeah. So, you can continue, but I just wanted to give you a what's up on that one, because that's absolutely true. Where did your gift come from, and why not? Right. If you're going to be playing at Ram's Head, hey, I'm also going to be worshiping here.
Exactly, and that idea came from following Jonathan Dubose, who does the same thing, and And I tell you what happened, even with I teach private lessons, I will mention that if someone wants as opposed to an online lesson, they want in-person private lesson. So, well, if you want to hear me, just come to visit me at my church. I'm there every Sunday.
There you go.
And as a result, people have given their life to Christ because they
There you
came
go.
to see me play because they wanted lessons, and they ended up joining the church, joining small groups, and all of that. So
Man, that's absolutely excellent. You know, because again, your gift makes room for you. This is the talent that the Lord gave you with, but not only to entertain, but to invite as well. So
right,
I'm grateful
right,
to know that you're
exactly.
doing that, bro.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, I don't. I'm really a quiet, person, soft-spoken person, like an introvert, as opposed to extrovert. So that's my way of reaching out. You know.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, use what you've been given. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So after Welcome Back Carter, that's 2012, 2013, the
That was
Ethiopian trips.
2013. Yeah,
And
we
what
did it. I worked on it overseas in 2012. Released it in 2013 when I came back. So I spent like, let's say, 2010, 11, 12. I thought it was 4 years. Oh, I went back a couple of times for short promo tours, but it was only 3 years that I spent 6 months there, 6 months here. So, excuse me. After that one, in 2014, I believe, I released Simplicity. And at that point, I think I was adding. I would add yeah, I added a couple of. I added let's see, a couple of cover songs. One from Hillsong,
Mhm.
from the Inside Out. I had my worship leader to participate, uh, Alex Williams, who is also a writer and very talented uh, vocalist, keyboard player. He actually wrote a lot of not a. I'm not sure. He used to do a lot of writing, and Byron Cage and some of the other artists used to
Wow.
use him a lot as far as writing goes.
Mhm.
Um, and also Be Encouraged, William Beckton. I did a
Acting,
cover
yeah.
on that. Yeah, and Beckton he liked it as well. What I like is a lot of the cover songs that I would do. I knew or worked with some of the artists, the original artists, and they'd give me their seal of approval actually. So I kind of appreciated that.
Absolutely. To be endorsed by the one who wrote the songs, I think that's a Bill Withers thing. You know, it's like, you know, you got to get to the source of what's happening and then you can really make it yours. So
Right there, you go. Yeah.
that's absolutely fantastic. So the album
Mhm.
that followed Simplicity.
My Life in Your Hands, actually titled by My Life in Your Hands, was actually written by Glenn Douglas for me.
Wow.
Uh, so and um, and so that was the title song, and that one was all all CCM and gospel. You know,
Mhm.
I think yeah, the entire CD
Wow. Now,
inspirational jazz.
now, this is the latest one. My Life is in Your Hands is your latest release.
Well, yeah, but I've actually completed a ninth one. Yeah, that's my eighth one, but I've completed a ninth project that's due to come out the first thing 2019, January 2019,
What's it
and
called?
I have that one is called Silky.
Silky.
Um, yeah, Silky is have a lot of featured artists, and on this one, and they're most of them I've worked with in the past, and when I did a lot of the writing and production on this one, and even with the cover songs, we tried to scale back on the covers. We used to do a lot of covers because it was contemporary or smooth jazz, and
Sure.
that's what our marketing people wanted to hear. But now
Sure.
they're kind of being more creative now, so they want to hear more originals now. So like, this is perfect timing because I prefer to write my own and build my catalog, be in my catalog.
You know,
So
Glenn and I talked about that during our conversation. And yeah, I think that's what's up. I think you get stuck in the box repeating what someone has already done. I mean, covers,
Right.
you know,
Right.
putting your own spin on them is good, but you have to create your own discography, because 20
Right.
years from now, 40 years from now, someone needs to know the work of an Earl Carter, period.
Yeah, exactly.
They need to be covering you.
Yeah, right, right. Exactly. And
Now,
that's what I prefer that anyway.
absolutely. Now, let me ask this question. What, out of the 8 albums, now 9 albums that you've completed, can you pinpoint a favorite song that you've recorded, whether it was
Uh,
original or cover?
uh, 495, the actual song 495. I know we talked about the album.
Mhm.
495 is my favorite song. Um, I recorded that with uh, the help of a co-producer, Patrick Cooper, on keys, who's also a contemporary jazz artist. J.J. Williams on drums. He plays with Dave Koz and
Yeah,
George Benson and everybody.
yeah,
These are my buddies that I
yeah.
came up with. Mike Burton on sax. He's out of Atlanta, and he does a lot of work with Tyler Perry and a lot of the southern region artists. He was on sax. And what instrument am I missing? Bass. I'm missing the bass. Buddy I grew up with in DC. There's another group, go-go group called Rare Essence, or
Mhm.
RE, and he's the bass player for them. He played bass on that one. I get a lot of positive um, feedback when we perform that live,
Mhm. Mhm.
because it has a lot of energy. And that, I would say, that's my favorite for now. With the
Yeah.
new project, and everybody, everybody says this when they want to hype up their new project. The new project is the one. That's the one. But no, really, I mean, I put in a lot of work on this one, and I brought in a lot of the players that I've worked with over the years. So Silky features Marcus Johnson on keys.
Oh, excellent.
Um, let's see. Last of the Year features Marion Meadows on
Mhm.
sax.
Sax.
Uh, Here's a cover song. We did throw one, maybe a second cover song in there, but uh, "Can You Stand the Rain" cover song features Joakim Joyner on sax.
Mhm.
Uh, "It Happened to Me." No, is it? It's happened to me. No. What is that? No. What is that song? "It Happened to Me" was the gospel song,
Mm.
but there was another one. I gotta remember all these names,
Gotcha.
but anyway, there's another one that Glenn Douglas co-produced. Features Michael Lincoln on sax.
Excellent.
Uh, David Dyson, I featured him, bass player,
Oh
good
yeah.
friend of mine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
featured on one it's called Night and Day, and it trades off guitar and bass. So he's kind of playing the night part on with the dark bass solos, and then I'll trade off with him with the daytime guitar bright melodies
Ooh.
and so forth.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
what's up.
yeah. hmm
That's what's up.
And,
Well, you know, maybe somebody can get me an advance copy. I don't know. I don't want to, drop.
you know what? Now that you mention that, I'm almost finished this project. I have, but I had Les Cleveland play. He plays for Larry Graham, and he's a musical director he's out of Berkeley. He's from South Carolina, but he's been up in New York City for some years now. A young, awesome drummer. And he was playing at the Birchmere, and he called me up. He was playing with Larry Graham. He said, "Hey man, I'm in town. If you need any drum tracks, just scoop me up." I brought him in, and he played on 3 of the songs, and then I had one of the guys that played with E.U. play on a couple of them.
Wow.
And I think that's it. I did a lot of drum programming. So hint, I might need some drums on to close this, to seal this thing.
I got you, and we work online as well. So
right.
Let me know. But I do want to ask a couple more questions in the time that we have, and we'll make a part 2 and come back with you at some point. But
Gotcha.
I want to know, as an EntreMusician, what do you find is the most challenging thing that you face regularly and you're looking to get over? I know that's a deep question, but the most challenging thing for you as an EntreMusician, but you're looking to develop a solution for it.
Well, I think I have developed the solution. It's just a matter of being persistent as far as sticking to my game plan as far as how to resolve the issue. But I think I'm spread a little thin because I've been doing this for a long time, and I get a lot of calls as far as sideman calls to perform in different groups and back up different musicians and so forth, or artists, back up different artists. And it has a tendency it pays the bills. So I kind of put my project on the back burner.
Sure.
And until I I'm one of those people who I always try to be the best at whatever I do. So whether it's a sideman gig, an agency band gig, frontman gig, I'm going to give it 110%.
Certainly.
So I end up putting so much time into other people's dreams that I'm kind of putting my dream on the shelf a lot. So what I want to do is, and I'm not talking so much because I'm not this guy who needs to be in the spotlight. That's just not me. That's just not my personality. I can do it. Over the years, I've figured out ways to put on a great show and get the standing ovations and all of that stuff, because that's part of what you do as an entertainer. Yeah. But my goal is to build my BMI catalog up to the point where there's so many original materials in there that are getting placed, and I'm getting the downloads and the streaming and the royalties from placements and so forth, that I can retire off of that.
Absolutely.
And enjoy and sit at home and enjoy doing that. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at with this. I mean, that I've toured. I've toured the United States. I've played the festivals. Glenn and I worked as house musicians for the BET festivals, where we'd back up Angela Bofill and Regina Bell and all these different artists on the Bermuda Jazz Festival, Ghana Music Festival. And I've done all of that, and I really enjoyed it, and I appreciate it, and it's been a blessing from God. But right now, I want to do the other part that I'm talking about, where I build my catalog and my legacy that I can leave, and that's the part that I'm kind of, and I know how to do it. I just have to, I just have to turn down a lot more of the other stuff so that I can get my goals in check and accomplish what I really want to accomplish.
Well, I tell you, this is the truth, and this is where we'll put a pin in it for part one of this incredible interview. But from what you have done already, even with all of the sideman gigs that you've taken on, you have an impressive discography, and our hopes is to make sure that Earl Carter, the unsung hero of this DC area, becomes more of a household name. Because you're right. I mean, with the people that you're playing with and have been playing for, performing with, composing and producing with, it's just a matter of time where that needle is going to move because of your persistence. So You have a fan right here. You have a fellow EntreMusician in me. I know that our paths are going to cross again, but there's so much more to the Earl Carter story that we're going to get into. So you're going to tune in again next time to the EntreMusician. But my name is Jere B. That's Brother Earl Carter right there. We are EntreMusicians, and so are you. Peace and blessings to you. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Earl.
Thank you, Jere. I appreciate you.
Blessings.